Well, here we go. I'm gonna see if I can do this, and let's see if any of these predictions come true. This is probably all stuff I'm gonna pull out of my ass, but maybe some of it will be true. But I think here's a fundamental question. I'm gonna shift it just from talking about Russia and the very bad optics, I guess you could say, of what would occur with Russia. If there is no peace settlement and the Russians are simply beaten back. But I think what's not talked about is what will happen to Ukraine, even if they win. If Ukraine wins, there will be no quarter given to Russian-speaking peoples, I think. The Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics will be persecuted. They will be potentially, especially a lot of the big troublemakers will be gulagged. Many people will flee. It will be similar to, I imagine, like the expulsion of Germans from Prussia, what used to be, East Prussia. And there will be camps and everything else like that. The pro-Ukrainians will not talk about this. They'll say, oh, well, it did happen, but that will be among the first things. Another is an entrenched ideology of like super LARPy supremacy. And this whole belief of, because what Ukrainians now believe, I think, is like we was Vikings and shit like that. And saying that it's like, actually we're the real Aryans. This is also something that's going to be ignored by the pro-Ukrainian types. And they will quickly flip and say, we don't like this belief of Ukraine. But the thing is, though, is pro-Ukrainians are not pro-Ukrainian. They simply hate Russia. Because I watched this embarrassing video from Kings and Generals, which, it's so biased, and it was so cringe. Because they're like, well, we've seen how little Russia cares about civilian deaths. And then it's like, oh, but the Ukrainians killed 100, basically. It's like, nobody cares. They also used the BLM Black Fist with the Ukrainian flag on it. Talking about the partisan operations behind Russian lines. And I've heard about these partisan attacks and whatnot. It's like the Red Army had better partisans probably than the Ukrainians. But the thing is, these Ukrainian partisans, they're not going to be treated as heroes, mind you. They will not. Which leads me to, I think that my points that I've already brought up are realistic of what's going to occur with Ukraine. And what Ukraine will do to the Russian-speaking peoples in Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic. Less reliably, but I think still a fairly good metric of what will occur in Ukraine is this. They will become more of a vassal and more reliant on the United States. No longer will they be, kind of like just the post-Soviet military and whatnot. Of course, they've upgraded and all this sort of thing. But they will become another Poland. They will become another Germany in everything but name. And hell, they may even be accepted into NATO. After all this bullshit ends, they'll just be like, yeah, let them into NATO. Why not? It's interesting to me as well that Like I say, you see Erdogan, for example. I saw this as well, and I take it with a grain of salt with this Kings and Generals video because they're hugely biased. I've seen them in Vosh's chat before, so it that tells you all you need to know. But you have to remember is that it's a larger game than just Ukraine versus Russia. This is about control. It is about control, and it's about holding on to power as long as you can. I think the United States knows that it's weak. I think that the powers that be, the establishment, or whatever other fake-walk you want to say, I think they realize that they're going to lose power. But they're going to hold on to it for as long as they can. And their little vassal of Ukraine will continue to be seen as a bargaining chip. Because that's what Ukraine has always been. Ukraine has always been a land that has gone back and forth. And as much as they want to talk about Ukrainian Cossacks and their own culture, it's just like in general, Ukraine has always been a land that has been used to be taken advantage of because of the rich soil and everything else. And it will be continue to be seen that way. Much the same way as Poland is seen as that, where people will simultaneously love Poland and then they'll hate Poland for various reasons. Because they'll love Poland for being, virulently anti-Russian, but they won't like it because they consider it too Nazi and because they don't acknowledge, they say the German Holocaust. That's, the German death camps, not Polish ones. That was a big thing. And of course, for the fact that they also tried to extradite, people that were part of the Polish Communist Party from Israel. And of course, Israel denied it. And they said, no, we're not going to let them. I can't think of the gentleman's name. I've said it so many damn times. But anyway, the leader of the Zagota labor camp. But that's some deep Wegnat shit. So, what'll happen economically to Ukraine? I know I'm real schizo here, but what'll happen economically to Ukraine? Privatization. Privatization will be immense. The ordinary people will not really have much of a say in ordinary politics. The corruption will still exist on a huge level. Zelensky will still have his mansion in Miami. And not much will change. And you'll see all the folks who are so pro-Ukrainian ignore all these aspects. And Ukraine will probably end up sending, will be another vassal, like I say, of the Atlanticist group and whatnot. And basically, we'll send a coalition to various, hotspots around the world. Same way as, French, the Germans, the Poles, etc., etc. That's what will occur. Ukraine itself will probably be a continued haven of villainy, of corruption, and indeed, you're going to have white slavery and prostitution is going to be immense. And you're going to have a lot of, transgender stuff going on. So you're going to have violence with that. You have to realize is that this struggle between Ukraine and Russia, as a lot of wars today have become, they are proxy wars for larger issues. people want to break up Russia so that they can simply send in ExxonMobil to take over the oil fields. They simply want to make Russia into yet another Libya. You know? And there are going to be a lot of myths and a lot of shit that will come out later on. And the, atrocities that occurred, both Russian and Ukrainian. And it's just not going to be pretty. That's all I can really tell you. Now, these are all vague sort of attitudes, but I think to a point, most of this will happen. Most of this will occur. This sort of, creating the image and creating the lie that, Ukraine is somehow like, we're actually the real Vikings. We're the real, we're the real Nazis, this and that sort of thing, And I think that's what will occur to a point. And their economy will continue to be shit. And, there'll be a country, similar to Poland, where many folks will leave Ukraine and will go to the UK, or they'll come to the United States, as they already have. And, not much else is going to happen. Anyway, I think I've ranted for long enough. I need to make these somewhat shorter, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to say in this, so, yeah. But I think, broadly speaking, I think that's what will occur. And maybe I'll be proven wrong on some of those points, but I think, generally speaking, I think I'll be correct. So anyway, see you later. Goodbye.